The details, the latest news from Iraq. US-led forces have started daytime air raids on the country. Raids on the capital, Baghdad, have thrown normal life completely out of control. The commander of the US-led campaign, Tommy Franks, has said the war on Iraq will be unlike any other in history. The assault would be one of shock, surprise and flexibility, he said in his first media briefing since the beginning of the conflict. Meanwhile, US and British forces have claimed that the strategically important city of Basra has fallen into their hands. There has been no official reaction to this from Iraqis so far. The US-led forces have started bombing yet. In two separate incidents, at least 49 people have been killed near the northern Iraqi town of Halabja. US missiles hit the office of the Kamala Islami Kurdistan Party, killing at least 45 people at the town of Kurmal near Halabja. In another incident, an unidentified bomber driving a taxi blew himself up, killing an Australian journalist and 2 other people. 9 others have been injured in the incident. The other victims have been identified as Kurdish fighters belonging to the Kamala party. In more news, US forces have launched an aerial attack on the stronghold of the Al-Ansar group in northern Iraq, a Kurdish organization said. The US has alleged that the Al-Ansar group has links with the Al-Qaeda terrorist network and that Saddam Hussein is supporting it. In another development in the same area, Turkey sent in commando troops into northern Iraq in opposition to US wishes. The Turks can expect a confrontation with local Kurdish authorities. 7 crew members, including an American, were killed as 2 British naval-seeking helicopters collided over the northern Gulf in pre-dawn darkness on Saturday. Both helicopters were from the British aircraft carrier HMS Ark Royal. The ship's captain, Alan Massey, said one of the aircraft had just left the deck of Ark Royal while the other was in its final stages of return to the ship some 5 miles out over international waters when they collided. The Danish parliament has approved the deployment of a submarine and naval corvette as part of US-led forces in the war on Iraq. Parliamentary sources said the decision was taken after 2 days of intense political debate. It is backed by the ruling Conservative Liberal government of Prime Minister Anders Fogh Rasmussen and the far-right Danish People's Party. Meanwhile, Australian Defence Force General Peter Cosgrove has announced that the troops under Australian command have intercepted an Iraqi tugboat laden with sea mines. Well, for some more news, Russia has vowed to block any future moves by the United States and its allies to secure UN approval for their military assault on Iraq and any post-war power structure that may be brought there. All-party consensus on US actions against Iraq has again proved an elusive objective. Another all-party meeting in New Delhi, convened by Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee to discuss the issue, failed to agree on a joint statement. While the opposition insisted on the word condemn being used in the statement for America's assault on Iraq, the government was against the use of harsh words. A meeting on 10th March during the run-up to the bombing of Iraq had similarly failed to agree on a unanimous statement.
Its reluctance to use strong words against US aggression.
Anti-US and anti-war protests continued across the country on Saturday. In cities like New Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata, protesters flooded the streets demanding an immediate end to the American assault on Iraq. Families in India which have members working in the Gulf region have been in the grip of fear and anxiety as US-led strikes on Iraq intensify. Especially those whose relatives are in Iraq and Kuwait spend their days glued to television sets waiting for information about their loved ones.
A report flights are being provided.
Several opposition leaders, including RJD Chief Lalu Prasad Yadav and CPM General Secretary Harkishan Singh Surjeet, courted arrest in New Delhi on Saturday after staging a demonstration against the US attack on Iraq. Along with the 2 leaders, 30 other people belonging to different opposition parties were also arrested, but all of them were released soon after, police sources said. The demonstration was held near Teen Murti Bhavan, close to the US Embassy. Talking to news persons, Lalu Prasad Yadav said the NDA government was afraid of the US and therefore did not want to condemn the American attack on Iraq. The demonstration was part of a nationwide protest called by left parties and trade unions demanding an immediate halt to hostilities in Iraq. Welcome back. In more news, the factional feud in the Tamil Nadu Congress Committee is in the open once again. TNCC President S. Balakrishnan and Working President EVKS Elangovan both had appointed district office bearers. However, Mr. Balakrishnan suspended some of them appointed by Elangovan. Mr. Elangovan said Balakrishnan had no right to do so. He said he would raise the issue with the Congress President Sonia Gandhi in New Delhi on Sunday.
On Friday, TNCC President S. Balakrishnan asked AICC President Sonia Gandhi to take action against Elangovan for his